Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is B3, which is Big Bet Brent. And what I'd like to do today is talk to you about what is the best things to look for in sports gambling so that everyone out here can maybe make a couple wagers, make a little bit of money, and come out ahead. Everybody always wants to come out ahead, right? So this might be a way for me to show you this is a way to do this. First off, sports gambling, I've said it before, is my favorite thing to do. And, not just because I'm a sports lover, but if you actually want to make money, this has to be your best option. Again, it's not that you can't go to the casino and play roulette or play blackjack, and come out ahead and make a couple dollars. But I'd like you to find something where you can come out ahead on a more of a regular basis, where you're going to make a little bit more money, and where everybody's basically happy that they made bets. Not, oh, why did I do that? Why did I bet my life savings on, red or black or, I thought one of these numbers would come up. Why did I do that? That was the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. Well, I don't want there to be guessing. I actually want people to have a chance where they can maybe make a little bit of money. People watch the games. They enjoy doing that. And everybody, just about, I see puts money on, hey, I bet $10 that, so-and-so would score a touchdown, or this person would rush for this many yards, or this guy would have a sack, or this would be the final score of the game, or whatever. And what I see from that is basically that people are interested in the games. People are watching the games. And the only reason they're putting money on the games, whether it's a little bit or a lot, is because they want to come out ahead. Nobody's putting $10 on this game to hope and pray that they lose $10. Everybody's putting their money in these games wanting to come out on top, ahead, and even if it's just for bragging, where they can tell their family or friends, or, oh, I made money on this game today. I bet on the Steelers. I didn't bet on the West Virginia Mountaineers. I took this bet. C.J. Stroud is going to win the Heisman Trophy. This guy's going to do that. It's just for some people, that's the biggest thing, is the bragging. But when they're putting their money into it, again, nobody's wanting to say, oh, well, I just put that money in there, I didn't care. That's not really what people do that about. They do it because they do want to come out ahead. Hey, I bet on this, and you know what? I was able to buy lunch for everybody today. Or I was able to take my wife out to dinner. Or, maybe you get a little bit bigger. You do a couple more bets. You bet a little bit more money. You gain a couple more wins. And then you're like, oh, I went on this 3-day vacation to this place. I went and visited here. I went on this little bit of a trip. And then where you just expand yourself. Not everybody is going to go in a casino and put money on the line like I do. And I'm not suggesting that maybe anybody does that. But These are the kind of things that you have to do if you actually want to make money. You have to take some kind of a risk. You know, you're not ever going to make money, whether it be in business or whatever, without actually making some sort of a risk. You're not going to go into a business and say, oh, I'm going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to sell 50 of these, and then once I sell these 50, then I pay for them. No, you buy something, you get your items, and then you sell the items. You're always trying to, I guess, catch up, because you have to take a chance. You have to take a risk. You don't buy the stuff and then a week later say, they don't really sell. Let's just go ahead and take them back, and then maybe they'll give me some money. Maybe I'll make money by just giving them back to where I got them from. That's not how things work. And you're definitely not going to come out ahead like that. At best case scenario, the only thing that would happen there is you might get your money back. Minus stocking fees, minus whatever. But everything costs money. You know, if people were to actually see me walk in the casino and see what I did when I went up to the windows, most people wouldn't even think that it was a real thing. You know, it's harder than you think to go up there, money that you've worked hard for, hand it to somebody, let them take your money, and then have to watch a game and see what happens. Even though that's something that you have to do and you might have to wait a few hours, that's still better than jobs that you're going to have or businesses that you're going to do, because you're not ever going to get paid that fast. You get paid in cash, you know, basically right away. You don't have to wait 2 weeks to get paid. You don't get taxes taken out. You don't get, you know, losing on this and losing on that. These are just all ways that you can make some money. Now, after the last video that I did, I've had quite a few people ask me questions about what exactly I would say to look for when you're exploring these games, when you're looking into these games, and what is it that somebody needs to do. Because again, you don't want to just put your foot in the water. If you want to make some money, you got to actually swim. Sure, you can watch people, you know, you can every day get on and say, hey, you know, this guy said to bet this team. This guy said to bet that team. But for the most part, and I'm not going to say 100% of the people, but for the most part, these people are just saying whatever it is that they want to say. I think that you need to do most of the research on your own, see exactly what you're getting into, and then back up your explorations with your money. Not, hey, John Smith said to do this, so I'm going to put $1,000 on this. Or this person said to do that, so I'm going to put my life savings on this because they said it was going to win. What you need to do is you need to break these games down, and you need to look at things. You need to look exactly what's going to happen. Injuries. Injuries is one of the biggest things. You know, if a certain quarterback is not playing today, obviously that makes all the difference in the world. The quarterback that's going to be playing hasn't played in the last 3 years, and even when he played then, he played for 5 minutes, and, you know, who even knows if he can play? And not saying that he can play or not saying that he can't, but you can't even go either direction on that. Just because that guy is playing for his first time, you don't know exactly what he's going to do. Sure, you might say, oh, well, you know, Dak Prescott isn't playing. Well, there's no way that the Cowboys can win. We've seen that that's most definitely not the truth. Cooper Rush has played great football, but we didn't know exactly what he was going to do. And you couldn't go against him without at least getting a feel or seeing as to what it was that he was going to do. You have to look into these things. I watch every single game. I watch every single game every week. Now, am I going to tell you that I've seen every play from every game? No, that's not exactly what I'm saying. But I do watch all the games. I do go back and forth. I do tape them. I do go back and I do look at highlights. I watch what's going on. I pay attention as to what's going on in these games. So maybe you can get feels for what teams can do. Hey, this team can do this on the road. Oh, this team is at home. When they play at home, this quarterback is the worst quarterback that's ever played the game. Or when this guy plays here, he's runs for 150 yards a game. He gets 2 touchdowns. He's top notch. This receiver, he never beats his cornerback. He never beats his safety. Playing on Thursday night in the lights, this team loses every game. This coach never wins in this scenario. You just have to, basically, you got to pay attention to all that stuff. You have to know what you're talking about. You can't just say, okay, the Falcons are playing the Cowboys. The Cowboys got a better running back than the Falcons, so I'm picking the Cowboys. That's just not the way that it works. Could you ever win the game? Sure, there's only 2 teams. It is possible to win. But what we're trying to do is actually make money, put ourselves ahead, and build and build and build. I mean, isn't that what everybody wants to do? They want to build money. Whether or not you're at work, whether or not you're building a business, regardless of what it is that you're doing, everybody wants to build. So injuries. Injuries is one of the top things that I'm going to look for. I'm going to see who's playing, who's not playing. And then there's going to be times where you're going to be like, okay, this guy that is playing, I don't even know who he is. So how are you going to put your money into a game when you got somebody playing that you don't even know who they are? Now, isn't that dumb? I mean, is this really where you want to invest your money? You want to invest your money on Mr. Jones that you don't know anything about? No, that's not what you want to do. If you were getting into business for yourself, you want to research that business, find out what's going on, see how it works, see how it operates, see what you need to do to run that business, not just, oh, well, this is what you do. All you got to do is do this, and you buy this for $1 and you sell it for $1.01 and you're coming out and you're ahead. Well, number one, even if you were to do that, you're not thinking about any expenses or anything else that you're putting into it. This is not something that, you just wake up on Sunday morning for professional football and just say, okay, this team's going to win and this team's going to win and let's bet these. And these are the 15 games that I'm betting today. Because all that's going to do is put your money in a garbage can. And anybody can do that. You don't even have to watch these videos. You can just run out and throw your money in there. Nobody's stopping you. But if you actually want to make out, come out ahead, have your money grow, and build, sports, like I said, is my way to do it. You can gamble on sports just about every day. There's millions of things on sports. I mean, you can do soccer, you can do MMA, you can do baseball, football, basketball, just anything that you want. Auto racing, golf, again, just about anything that you could ever possibly want to bet. I've bet on who's going to win a golf tournament. Now, that's something, obviously, nobody knows anything about that stuff. You know what I mean? Who's going to win over a 4-day golf tournament? It just so happens the time that I bet that, I believe it was 14-1, and I actually came out ahead. You know, I got lucky one time, but again, that was just a guess. It wasn't, hey, you know, this is the best chance and blah, blah, blah. You know, you're going to bet something like that. You got to really think about what you're doing. You know, you're getting paid 14-1. Well, that's not because the odds are actually 14-1. The odds are actually much greater than that because the casino is not losing money on you. You can pretty much bet that and know that they're not going to actually take a loss on you just so you can make some money. They're out there to make money on their own, and they're not going to, you know, let everybody else make money and them be the ones to lose. Weather. There are so many people that don't pay attention to what goes on in the weather. You get to these teams that pass the ball in the NFL, if it's going to be storming down rain, you know, these things aren't going to work. Or let's say you have Derrick Henry and it's going to be raining. You know he's going to be running the ball anyway. So this is going to be an advantage, you know, for Derrick Henry. He's an animal, and he's going to tear people up in a rainstorm. You're going to have snow. Guys can't kick the ball in the snow. Guys can't throw the ball in the snow. You know, things of this nature, and people don't ever think about that. These are games where you want to look at point totals. You know, there's no way each one of these teams is going to score 25 points when nobody can kick and nobody's going to barely be able to move the ball because there's going to be 6.5 inches of snow on the ground. These are all things that people need to look into. You know, these point spreads come out, and, you know, let's say the total was 50. Well, that's a week in advance, and then, you know, nobody even knows that it's going to rain or snow until, you know, maybe 2 days before, and then, you know, it might change a little bit, but it's not going to go from 50 points to 30. You know, it might move a point or two or a few points, but it's not going to really move and make much of a difference. But these are things that you have to pay attention to. You're going to say, oh, well, the last time these two teams played, these teams scored 25 points. Well, yeah, they were playing in a dome. The temperature was 80 degrees. You know, their kicker wasn't hurt. You know, their quarterback wasn't hurt. This guy wasn't hurt. Everybody was playing. They were at full strength. Both offenses were on fire. You know, well, now, you know, this guy's hurt. This guy's partially hurt, not playing too much. He's not playing real well. These are things you got to look into. So, again, we're going to be at, you know, what the weather is like, who's playing and who's not, different scenarios. You know, hey, this team does this. This team plays like this on the road. This team never wins 3 in a row. They never do this 4 times in a row. If they scored 40 last game, this is a downer. If they scored 30 last game, they might do it again. You know, if you pay attention, the games don't normally go, hey, they did great this week. They did terrible last week. This week they're down to do bad. It's not like in every other thing. You try to find these teams that are in a scenario, and they could go to either way. You could say, hey, the Titans are on fire right now, and you could play them for the next 4 weeks. Or maybe 4 weeks after that, you say, oh, my goodness, the Chargers are playing so terrible, I'm going to take anybody that's playing against them. You know, you just try to follow how these different things are playing out. This team is doing this. This team is doing that. My team runs the ball well. Well, they're playing against a team that lets teams run the ball well. That's in my scenario. Or my team throws the ball well, but we're playing against the #1 pass defense in the league. Okay, these are just the type of things that you need to know. Oh, this cornerback doesn't let anybody beat him. This cornerback lets people score touchdowns every week against him. This guy does this. This team doesn't tackle. This guy's that. This coach wins these games. This coach has been coaching for 15 years, and this is how his program goes. You can get a really good idea. Teams like that. It's so hard to bet against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their coach has been there for 100 years. They're going to be in the game. They are going to be in the game. It does not matter. It doesn't matter this. It doesn't matter that. Oh, TJ Watt's not playing. Sure, they want him to play. It would be better off if he played. But you know what? Don't ever sleep on Mike Tomlin. Don't do that. He's a great coach. He's going to have his team up there. Even if they're in a losing game, they're not going to take any kind of a beating. Okay, they're doing this and that, and they might lose, but they're getting 4 points. They're getting a touchdown. Okay, well, they're going to keep the game close. They just, for the most part, will. You can't just say, oh, well, they stink, and they're going to do this. That does not work out as to how it goes. You have to actually look into what you're doing. And again, you want to look at injuries. You want to look at weather. You want to look at coaching. You want to look at these different scenarios. You want to just see how this team does against that, how that team does with this. Oh, this guy on the road, his team never wins. His team never blocks on the road. His team never loses at home. They cream these teams. This team plays terrible against teams that they're supposed to beat. They always just edge them out. They always just barely win games just so they can say that they won. This team does that. Oh, they're playing a good team. Well, if they're playing good teams, they never beat a good team. They always lose to the bad teams. They play competitive, but they always lose. They always win. They always do this. They always do that. But you know what? For you to learn this stuff, you actually have to research it. You can't just guess. I know that there's a lot of games in the NFC West. My buddy's an NFC West fan. And that was the way that I got to learn about them as much as I did. Well, there's teams that you wouldn't even believe that play against them, that that game is going to go down to the last minute every single time they play. And one team is much better than the other team, but you know what? All those games come down to the end of the game. They all do. They all do. And the one team might win more than another team, but when we're looking at these games, we're looking at point spreads. We're looking at who's going to cover, who's going to get you that money, who's going to put you ahead. You want to be on the winning point spread team. You want to be able to go to that ticket window and say, hey, and them to say, oh, are you making another bet or are you just collecting? And then you're already smiling. You're smiling because you're like, yeah, I hit. It's about time. I want to make some money. I want to win some money. I don't want all the cash right now. Next week I got this game that I want to play. So let's put this on this game and let's put the rest in my pocket. Make a little bit of money. Put it in my pocket. Come out ahead. Again, these are all the things that I would say that maybe you want to look for. Anybody that has any questions can look at my YouTube channel. Get an idea of anything that you want to ask me. I'll be more than happy to try to help you out. And let's again make some money.